What up, YouTube? This is Daniel Rucker with True Table. Welcome to the table. I hope everybody enjoyed the weekend. Hope you guys are blessed. I hope you're doing well. But I am back with another episode, another installment, another video. I have to get back in here and talk about this particular subject because it's something that continues to cycle in the atmosphere. It's constantly discussed. I constantly hear about it. But before I get into the topic of today, you go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Share the content if you feel it necessary. And the like button is free. It don't cost nothing. It's very little effort. Just tap it one good time. I appreciate you. Now, the topic I want to discuss today is this whole notion that women are so outperforming men financially in the workplace. And why do I want to talk about this? Some may be saying, Daniel, why is this important? Well, it's important because this very thing is what is causing a lot of demise and a lot of relationships to dissolve. Because there's this notion that there's such a disparity on how much money women are making compared to men are making. And one of the biggest breakdowns of most relationships nowadays, especially if you talk about marriage, is finances. So I wanted to discuss why it is silly to assume that women are outperforming men financially. And I have some facts and some statistics, a source to prove it. But that's what I want to discuss. But before I get started, let me go ahead and slide into the kitchen. Because as you guys know, what I do on this channel, I get cooking. When I get in here, I grill, I saute, and I'm serving up these meals. So without further ado, now, why? Why is this such an issue? There is a mindset that I believe exists in modern day. I wasn't alive when the feminist movement was introduced, but based on what I've studied and based on what I've seen, it has caused a social rift in what was one time relationships and what was considered value. There was a time that women valued having a man, not just a high value man, not just a rich man, but a man, someone they could call their own, someone that they knew had their back, someone that they knew was there to support, provide, and, partner with. They were excited just to have that guy. It didn't matter if he was a trash man or an executive. It didn't matter if he was worked at a deli or worked at the post office. But that has changed. Something took place to where now, because of this thing called money, has been such a big deal for women to acquire and people to acquire, it's caused women to start looking at men just a little different. See, the measure of the man is no longer the character of him. The measure of the man is no longer who he is as a person. The measure of the man is what is in your wallet. I think they got a commercial like that, something like that. I think it's freaking Capital One with the Samuel L. What's in your wallet? I think so. Don't quote me, but it sounds familiar. But anyway, so I wanted to discuss this because I feel that it is very important. So without further ado, let me go ahead and upload this slide so you guys can see that based on just a quick Google search and what I found, that the disparity of what is assumed that women are making in their lifetime is a fallacy. It's a delusion. So without further ado. So all this talk about how much money women make, I'm going to pull something up on CNBC.com. Quick Google search. So just so we can bring some continuity to the discussion, the median household income in the United States is $56,516, according to 2015 data from the U.S. Census. And this is in 2015, so this is a few years ago, but it's still very much accurate, people. The census does their searches on this stuff quite regularly every few years to try to keep a general understanding of what's going on in the world. But anyway, just to save time. So as right here, you can see that this breaks it down on the American salary based on age. So 16 to 19 is $404 weekly, $21,000 annually. 24, 508 weekly, $26,000 annually. 25 to 34,
$727 weekly, $37,000 annually. 35 to 44, $877 weekly, $45,604 annually, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, these are not astronomical amounts. Now, just at the top of this article, it said that the median income is $56,516. That is the household income. So that is to assume that I would say both parties earning potentially. Now, this whole notion, and I'm going to leave a description of this freaking article at the bottom of this broadcast so that you guys can do further research. Now, let's compare that here to the American men at the age of how much men are making. And the numbers are slightly higher. But as you can see in both graphs, the earning potential increases as we get late into our 30s and into our 40s. And still, even with that, at 65 and older, for even a man, $52,260 annually is what you can expect the average man to make 65 or older, as well as $41,600 annually. We can expect the average woman to earn 65 or more. So, what does that tell me? That this whole notion that women make substantially more, fellas, is nonsense.
Now, ladies, you've seen the slide and you've seen the statistics. How is it that you're out here leaving your men for what is assumed that you are producing? What is assumed that you're carrying the load? I can't tell you how many women I have viewed under the interview capacity and have stated that the reason why they're frustrated is because they're the ones usually handling the financial load. They're the ones that are having to hold down the family. They're the ones that are having to hold down their men. And I'm trying to figure out, how was that possible? If the census did an average of what women are making pretty much in their lifetime, and none of them figures reflected 6-figure incomes, 7-figure incomes, then it's safe to say that most are not making as much money as they claim to be making. So what seems to be the problem? Well, I'll tell you what I believe it is. I think a big part of it is that now that we have not only the feminist movement that was introduced, then we have now current day social media, which is adding to the ego that exists with most women. Yes, I said ego, because one thing that I've observed in my lifetime is that women's ego in current day has been souped up. It's been juiced up. It's been put on display. It's been put on stage to now be saying, girl, you don't need to take that. Girl, you know how valuable you are. Girl. And so in my own personal experience, I'm going to tell you guys a story, just share with you. One thing that used to happen to me when I was being introduced to a young lady that I was pursuing's family was that once they started talking to me, it didn't take long. Usually within 5 minutes, I was always reminded that she was important. I was always reminded that she was valuable. I was always reminded that I was supposed to be the one to worship her, praise her, put her on a pedestal, and treat her like the queen that she was. Because in the equation that is a man and a woman, the woman is obviously more valuable than the man. Well, I say that that's BS. I'm here to dispel that because I think that that's nonsense. See, the one thing that I used to do when they used to try to give me that nonsense and give me that, that message, is that I would be like, well, what about me? What about her not messing up on me? What about her valuing me? Because, I got a mom and a dad too, right? I actually have family too, right? I'm a person, that, right? And that is a part of the issue. See, what it is that you got too many women who believe that they are automatically more valuable than a man. And I have news for you, ladies. That's nonsense. If the median income for a household is $56,000, right? That's no money. That's okay living. You're broke, pretty much. You can do some things, but there's not a lot you can do. So that means that if that's the household income, or that is just your individual income, let's say that's your individual income. Well, that means that somehow, sometime in your life, when you decide to start pursuing someone, that you need to find someone who is making some type of money. And I would believe that with the equation, if you're making $56,000, and let's say you meet a man who's making the average income for a man, $42,500, you're almost at $100,000. Pretty much in any state, in any city, if you live correctly, you plan accordingly, you live below your means, you can live well. You can live quite well. You can save for college, you can eat out, you can take a vacation once a year. There's a lot you can do, right? But the problem is that, see, women don't want the work associated with living this Instagram lifestyle. They don't want the work that's associated with staying in these high rises and these suites and these Dubai trips. They don't want that. What they want is pre-made glory. They want a man to come fixed and suited and rich so that they can now just jump on his back and benefit from all the hard work that he put in. No, ladies, that's BS. It's nonsense. And I'm here to tell you, fellas, that you need to start waking up and realizing that there's more value in what you do and what you are as a man than women want to give you credit for. When you hear a woman say some nonsense like, you know, I'm a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, have her prove that. Have her prove to you how she doesn't need a man. Because the one thing that men don't do, which I'm so proud and grateful for, is that we don't go around talking about we don't need no woman in a sense of boastfulness. You know, there's no reason for that. Like, what do you get from that, ladies? Do you get an award for saying you don't need a man? Is there some kind of special club where you get a key to the city, or they give you discounts at you know, retail stores because you don't need a man? I just want to know. And it's sickening. It's pretty sad because a lot of women are really living their life in such a state of delusion that it's numbing. You know, they hear one woman say one thing and it sounds good. So then it becomes a bunch of parrots. Like, it becomes a bunch of echoed messages. Because in her own life, she can't even really exemplify that. I've only met a handful of women who I can say are actually killing it, are actually producing on high levels of success and high levels of ambitious practice, and even outperforming some men. On one hand, I've met these women. But what I can tell you about these women is that them women usually are not that attractive. Them women are usually anybody really wants to check for and date. And that's okay, but I'm trying to prove a point. See, this delusion that she's gonna be pretty and smart and, you know, well-read, educated, you know, ambitious. No, that's not the real world, people. That's just not how it is. You know, and one thing I wanted to ask the ladies that are listening, you know, is it assumed that your vagina is automatically just, you know, worth $1 million, $1 billion? Like, I don't understand. There's nowhere in the open marketplace that a woman automatic, organic, you know, sexual region, I'll say, it just has a net worth of, or an equation of a certain amount. What I think it is that it sounds good to walk through life and make yourself feel that you're more valuable than you really are. I'm here to tell you, the value you have, ladies, is not so much, you know, your actual sexual marketplace value. That's a part of it. But if it's producing to dollars, you are worth what you earn. And the reality is, a lot of you are out here holding back, waiting on men that, quite frankly, you don't qualify for. Your qualifier is not your education. Your qualifier is not what you drive. Your qualifier is not your 9 to 5 or your career, your degree. That's not your qualifier. Most men, if not all men, want to deal with a woman. What does that mean? They want to deal with a woman. They want to deal with the nature of a woman, a giving, selfless, supportive, loving individual. Men are interested in women for the very characteristics that they exemplify, not necessarily your money. Now, if you just so happen to be one of these average earners, then guess what, ladies? That means that you have a high probability that you're going to be working for a portion of your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is what women asked for. This is what they wanted. They wanted to have independence. They wanted to make their own money. They wanted to be able to produce and provide in the open marketplace. Great. Welcome. You're here. Congratulations. Well, guess what? Now that you have been positioned to get your degrees, get your education, get your careers, and get your paychecks and stuff, it's not time to sit on your resources. See, this whole notion that I'm going to go to college, get myself educated, make my money, and then meet a man that makes more money than me so that I can keep my money, that's selfish. That doesn't make any sense. That goes to levels that is so concerning for me, because I'm like, it's kind of counterproductive. Why would you go produce the ability to gain resources, money, wealth, finances, and then try to now position yourself to find a man who out-earns you? For what? What's the benefit? Other than the fact that you get to, again, find a man who's worked his butt off to produce whatever he's at in life, wherever he's at in life, and now you get to arrive to the party, jump on his back and reap the fruits of his labor? No. This is adulthood. So, I wanted to talk about that today because it's something that needs to be really addressed. Ladies, you are not as far in the level of production or outpacing men as you think. Stop that mess. It is totally okay to accept that you are on an even playing field with most people, that you are capable of some things, that you are living your life and trying to live your best. Most people want happiness, freedom, fun, love. Most people. So you're a part of that equation. This whole notion that you need to have this, extravagant life to feel better about yourself, have this, super successful life so that people can be envious of you. That's nonsense. And that's the unfortunate part on how women play their games, is that you guys are so busy trying to check and see what everybody thinks of you, when you really need to just go ahead and measure and see what you think about yourself. If you have a man, if you have the ability to attract a man that is supportive, loving, productive, God-fearing, selfless, and some of those things, competent, sensitive, you should consider yourself blessed. And you should stop measuring what his value is to whatever your value may be, whatever you produce. If money is being earned into that household, then it really shouldn't matter who makes more or who makes less, in my honest opinion. And a lot of this nonsense is keeping you single. Now, if that's your goal, keep at it. If you like being lonely, do you. Go ahead and hit the stop button right now. Go ahead and don't listen to me ever again. But if you want to get to this part of life that is non-tangible, you want to get to this part of life where somebody actually wants you to be a part of their life and you be a part of his life, then you need to relax the ego. You need to put away the guns, and you need to put away this competitive nature that a man is trying to compete with you, and that you really are doing as big as you are. Because if you don't work for Google as a VP, you don't have your own business that is yielding more than $250,000 a year, if you are not on track to be partner, working for the government at a level that is, I think GS-13 or higher, then I'm sorry. For the most part, you're average. You're like most people, and that's totally okay. So I wanted to discuss that today. I know I went a little long. I am very passionate about this. I'm passionate about all of this stuff because I want to see people win. I want to see the nonsense stop. I want to see the delusion dissolve. And I want women, people, to start operating in what is real, what is here on this planet, in this dimension. Not online, not that stuff behind the camera in the studios and what they make up and make you believe that it is. No, live life in real time. And that's what I wanted to discuss today. Thank you for hanging out with me. One of the things I mentioned in this broadcast, which I'm going to actually talk about on the next video, is the selfishness that is women. Because I do believe, ladies, you guys' selfishness is on uber toxic levels. We're going to discuss that in the next broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and slide out this kitchen. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you for supporting the channel. And if you like to continue to hear different topics and things of that nature, go ahead and slide into the comment section. You can reach me on Instagram, the same name, Truth Table. I would love to hear from you guys. But I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. This is Daniel Rucker signing out. Until next time.